Hello, this is Mary Prasad. You can visit me at artbymdp.blogspot.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this nighttime blended background using Memento inks and Goosebumps. For this project, you'll need the following supplies listed on the screen. I'm going to start by using Stays On ink to stamp this moon from the Lawn Fawn set Happy Haunting. Since this is a Halloween themed card, I decided to put on some scary music. Hope you don't mind. I'm just getting an idea of where I want the haunted house to sit in the scene before stamping the moon. Now I'm going to start inking the moon. I'm going to use 3 different colors of Memento ink, starting with the lightest. I'm using ink blushers to apply the ink in a circular motion, and I'm tapping off some of it at the start to help prevent the harsh lines. Although this sometimes does happen, you can sort of rub it out. I wanted my moon to have a halo, so you see I'm applying some of the ink outside the moon line. After inking up the moon, but before I ink the sky, I'm going to use some Goosebumps as a resist to protect the moon and to create stars. I'm going to tap some in the moon with the bottom of the applicator and spread it around, and then I'll use a small brush to spread it around the halo. I'm just gently pulling some of the Goosebumps out from the edges because I want to maintain the dome shape I created. To create the stars, I'm going to splatter some Goosebumps onto the white paper. I'm going to put a sheet of scrap paper underneath to help contain some of the splatter. You'll notice I'll be tapping it on my finger as I go. I also usually tap some off either in the bottle or on the side of the sheet to get the bigger drops off first, before continuing to make my stars. Once I'm satisfied with the amount of stars I have, I'm going to set this aside to dry. It's important that you don't touch it before it is completely dry. Unfortunately, I did, and put a fingerprint in the moon. I'm using a stamp positioner to stamp all the elements of my scene. You can do this by hand if you want, but this gives me the option to restamp if something doesn't come out right. It doesn't really matter where you place these, as long as there's enough space between them so you can cut them out later. Once I have everything positioned, I'll close the door and pick them up. I'm stamping these with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. To color my image, I'm going to use Faber-Castell Polychromos colored pencils. I'm taking out the trays and putting them to each side so that I can reach them, but they are just off camera. In this video, I'm only going to show some of the coloring. If you're interested in seeing all the coloring, you can watch it on my blog at artbymdp.blogspot.com. Once I've finished coloring, I'm going to put my pencils away and then grab my scissors to cut around each of these stamped images. I start by cutting between the images, then I cut off the bigger chunks, and then finally cut around the edges. The best way to cut these out is to make long, smooth strokes with the scissors and move the paper instead of the scissors around the corners. Now that I have everything cut out, I'm just going to clean up my work area, grab my cutting pad and a craft knife, and cut out the area along the porch. For a polished look, you'll want to go around the edges with a black marker. I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black marker, and I'll do this from the back side just in case I slip. This hides the white edges of the paper. Now that the goosebumps has dried, I can continue inking the background. I'm basically doing the same technique as before. It's fun to watch the stars come out as I apply the ink. You'll probably see me do a bit of a blop here, but it really won't matter because I'm going to make the sky quite dark, so it should blend in. Notice how I overlap the colors so they blend seamlessly into one another. I'm also putting quite a bit of ink on the paper so it'll stay wet for a little longer and blend more easily. Since this part of the sky was going to be as black as I could make it, I could alternate between tapping and rubbing. This helped to apply a thicker coat of ink. To wipe off any of the ink that may have gotten on the goosebumps, I'm going to dampen a paper towel off to the side so I don't get any on the scene, and then gently wipe it off. I'm going to stamp the two bats that come with the set on the moon so it looks like they're flying in front of it. I'm going to use Stays On ink for this. Since you can see my fingerprint in the bat, I'm going to use the doodle sticks to just fill in that little indent. To create the ground, I'm going to use this green cardstock and this hill die. I'm going to cut this a little larger than my scene so I have some wiggle room. Once I get an idea of where I want my house, I'll just glue it down. Before attaching the house and tree, I'm going to draw some shadows in. After I finished with the shadows, I cut down the scene. I decided to give my scene elements a little more dimension, so I'm going to rub on the back of them with this brush sticks. I'm going to use this foam pad, which you could also use a mouse pad, as the cushioning. This gives them a slight dome shape. I attached the smallest ghost in the tree directly to the scene, but I'm going to use dimensional tape on the rest of the elements. I'm going to leave off the largest ghost until I attach the scene to the base card. I want it to hang out of the scene so it looks like it's coming at you. Now that I mounted my scene on the card base, I'm going to attach my final ghost. Check out the blended background and all the dimension. I hope you enjoyed this slightly spooky project. For more details, including card sizes, please visit artbymdp.blogspot.com. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and have a happy Halloween!